I'll keep the presentation at a very high level. We are a very young company, and I don't know how to make presentations. So I was told I have to come here and present, so I just put a few slides together. But it'll be a lot more colorful, as you will see. So thanks for having us over. I know a lot of people here because I go back to my days at Kotak Investment Bank. I was here for a good 7 years. Some people say that's too long a time I spent in a single firm. Maybe yeah, it was true. um, I've also spent quite some time in the payment space. So I was looking at investments for Amex in India. We made an investment in MobiKwik in February this year. And then in March, one of my friends who's the founder of this company, Grofers, approached me and told me, dude, why don't you come over and head finance? And I said, okay, let me just give it a try. What's the worst that could happen? I'll briefly keep this presentation into two parts. One is where I talk about the company itself and what we do. And it's a pretty simple business, as you would understand. And the second part is where I try to explain how we are not e-commerce, right? And it's not that I want to differentiate myself from e-commerce in any way. It's important to understand that e-commerce is a separate industry, and what we are doing as hyperlocal and grocery is a separate industry with its own drivers and its own challenges. So where did the name Grofers come from? It's pretty simple. It's grocery plus gophers. So gophers is an American word, what you would call a mundu in North India, a Thambi in South and West India. Essentially, it's a man Friday, right? So Grofers means a guy who will go and fetch grocery for you, plain and simple. So here's a few things about the founders. I'm not the founder. My last name sounds similar to the company's name, but don't get confused on that. So the founders are Saurabh and Albinder. Saurabh is IIT Bombay 2006. Albinder is IIT Delhi 2004. Albinder is my batchmate from IIT. These guys worked in the US for a good 6 years, where they were working in the transportation/logistics space. So that's the space that they understand the best. Albinder then came back to India. He was heading international operations for Zomato. And then he decided to do something on his own. So both of them got back together in early 14 and started this company. When they started, they were doing essentially what was a B2B business. Pretty simple. You go to a local merchant. He does, let's say, 40 to 50 home deliveries in a day. You tell him you don't keep a guy. When the order comes, you call us. Our guy will come and pick up the stuff and deliver to the customer. So you own the customer. You're taking the order risk. We are just providing a logistics service. So that's the business they started with. And it's not that that was their aim to do a B2B business, or a B2B business versus a B2C business is non-sexy in a way. But what they wanted to build was a strong base. So, when I come to the difference between hyperlocal and e-commerce, you would understand that to do a hyperlocal business, the core has to be logistics, right? It's an ops business. It's a tech-enabled ops business. It's not a sort of getting orders on the website. That's not what this business is about. So they did this B2B piece for a year. What it helped them do is understand how local deliveries are done, right? So when I mean local deliveries, it is delivering from an area, from a pickup point to a delivery point within a 4-kilometer radius. So they understood how that business is done. B, they understood what is the mentality of the local merchant, right? So the local merchant is not the guy who's selling on these websites, right? This is a guy who would not give you even a 10 rupees of credit, even if you were like his uncle. So it's a very different ball game dealing with these people, and these people are at the core of the business again. We're funded by Sequoia and Tiger. We've raised close to $50 million now. So here's the proposition. Our proposition is you get our app. Our app lists stores within a sort of roughly 4-kilometer area of where you are standing, right? So the good thing about mobile is it tells you your location. So we pick up your location, we show you the stores which are in a 4-kilometer radius. You order anything, so we have got the SKUs listed by store, or if you don't want to shop by store, we have also got generic stores from where you can just do a universal search of the product you want. And you place the order, you either pay online or you say, I would do cash on delivery. After you placed your order, within 90 minutes, the order gets delivered to your doorstep. Plain and simple proposition, there's nothing more to it. Use the app to order, you'll see shops around you, and the product will get delivered in 90 minutes. Now what goes behind is the interesting part, right? Because once you've placed the order, our system picks up where the order was placed. So we are a pan-India player, we are in 10 cities. It's the same app across 10 cities, right? So you don't have a city-specific app. It just picks up your location and shows you the specific shops. So once the order is placed, let's say you're in BKC and the order gets placed, it'll go to our station in Bandra East. Now what's a station? A station is a 10 by 10 sort of a shop. There's a station manager sitting there, there are 10 delivery boys sitting there. When he gets this order, he knows stuff has to be picked from shop A. So he allocates one of the delivery boys to go pick up the stuff. The delivery boy goes to the shop, procures the stuff, goes directly to your home. So he's not coming back to the base station. So it's a pick and drop directly to the customer, and that's how we deliver everything within 90 minutes. Now, I'll just spend the next sort of 5-10 minutes explaining how this whole thing, what we call hyperlocal, and hyperlocal is nothing but you're ensuring the inventory and the fulfillment is happening from the locality where the order is coming. That's all that hyperlocal means. So what I've done is I've sort of put a table for everyone's ease. So we fall on the left-hand side, which we call hyperlocal/grocery, because grocery is the biggest category in hyperlocal right now. And then you've got the traditional e-commerce. Now, very frankly, hyperlocal and grocery could not have preceded e-commerce into India, right? You have to understand what e-commerce did. E-commerce, first of all, introduced the concept that you could order anything on the net and it'll get delivered to you, right? They've spent millions of dollars discounting, but that discounting was to drive a certain behavior where they make you comfortable that you get the best of products online and you'll get it cheaper than anywhere else that you can get it offline. What e-commerce also did was it sort of, the whole smartphone thing came because of e-commerce, right? 70% of merchandise which is sold on these websites on e-commerce are smartphones, right? So what it ensured is every sort of individual in at least the major cities in India is using a smartphone and data. Now, what's the market they are addressing, right? So e-commerce addresses the discretionary market. Effectively, on a Snapdeal or a Flipkart or Amazon, you get stuff that you'll either get in a shopper stop, you'll get in a lifestyle, or any other so-called department store, right? So it's sort of a discretionary spend, right? That market in India is close to $200 billion. What we are trying to target through hyperlocal is the almost twice that size is the $400 billion market, which is grocery, fruits and vegetables, and all other non-discretionary spends, right? The offline avatar in our business would be people like Big Bazaar and Reliance Fresh. Now, what's the customer proposition? When you're shopping online on an e-commerce website, you're looking for deals. Let's be very candid about it. Even if I were to buy a phone, I would go to at least 4 websites, keep the browser open for a couple of days, let them throw a few offers to me in my mailbox and then go and get the best deal, right? That's what most of us do. So what they're driving is price and discount. That's the major proposition for the customer. The other proposition is accessibility, right? Now, in a tier 2 town, you don't have a Puma outlet. If you don't have a Puma outlet, but you have an aspiration to wear a Puma shoe, where do you get it from? So a lot of e-commerce is also getting stuff into tier 2 and tier 3 cities where organized retail has still not gone. And that's a genuine value proposition. Now come to this side, hyperlocal. The only thing that I have to offer is convenience. Now, we get stuck in traffic anywhere between 1.5 to 2 hours, whether you're in Delhi, Gurgaon, Bombay, Bangalore, wherever you are, right? It's a fact of life. Every morning and every evening, we're spending close to 2 to 3 hours in traffic. And shopping for grocery is not a sexy thing to do. It's not aspirational, right? No one wants to, people browse through a Myntra website and a Jabong website because you see good models and they're wearing good clothes, which might look good on you as well. No one likes to see a photo of potatoes and tomatoes, right? It doesn't excite me at least, right? So our proposition is very simple, that we are trying to take the mundane task of grocery shopping and make it as convenient for the customer as possible. And we're doing it on demand, right? So everyone is used to getting out of the hotel, calling an Uber or an Ola, and it'll turn up in 10 minutes. There's no reason that wherever you are sitting, and if you want grocery to be delivered, which is available locally, easily in all the markets, why can't it be delivered to your doorstep within 90 minutes? The core of the business, in case of e-commerce, is demand aggregation, right? So it is all about how many sellers you have on the platform, how good is your website or a mobile app, and how big a brand have you created, right? So effectively, if I look around, I can already see 5 to 6 players who are established. I don't see any new players coming into this space, right? There's billions of dollars which have been spent for good reason to build the brand, to build the customer use case, and these people will continue to be the demand aggregator. So brands will keep going to them and say that I want to launch a new brand. You have a lot of demand coming through you, so why don't you launch my brand on your website? The other thing is assortment. So the greater the amount of goods you have on your website, the more people would come to that. The core for a hyperlocal business is fulfillment and logistics, right? It is about the guy who will give you a 90-minute promise, which only we are doing today. That promise is going to get broken. It'll be a 1-hour promise, and effectively going forward, it's going to be a 30-minute promise, right? And the only way you can deliver a product from the time it gets placed on the app till the time it hits your house in 30 minutes is if you own the logistics piece and have cracked the fulfillment piece. There's no other way this business can expand, right? So it's very different. I again say we are a tech-enabled ops company. It's a very different business from e-commerce. Now, so what's the greater opportunity? For e-commerce, the greater opportunity is either you do specialization in verticals, right? So you would still have people like Pepperfry and Urban Ladder who will be selling furniture, even though Flipkart and Snapdeal is also selling furniture, and they would have their right place under the sun. And the other thing to do is to manage inventory. So if you have, let's say, 10 warehouses across the country, eventually you move to 20, 30 warehouses across the country so that you are reducing the amount of stuff which is being which is traveling long haul across the country. For us, the opportunity, or for hyperlocal, the opportunity is supply chain management. So from a manufacturer or from a farmer, there are multiple hoops after which the product reaches the retailer, and then we go and pick up the stuff from the retailer and get to you. So for us, the opportunity is, can we reduce the number of hoops that happen between the eventual retailer and the manufacturer or farmer? And that is a greater opportunity for us. And like most retail businesses, the other big opportunity is in white labeling, because all said and done, fruits and vegetables in this country are not branded, right? And the thing is, if you can't do quality control, you can't brand the product. So the greater opportunity for us always would be if we can get into white labeling of both the grocery products and fruits and vegetables. What is the effect on offline? Everyone asks, right? If you look at an e-commerce website, who are these sellers? These sellers are wholesalers, right? Because a retailer would not be able to match that price. A retailer has a real estate cost which varies anywhere from 6 to 8% of his sale. A wholesaler has a cost of 1 to 1.5% of maintaining the warehouse. So those are the guys who have actually benefited from the whole sort of e-commerce wave which has hit the country. And it's apparent, right? The real estate prices across malls have gone down. It's a fact. You even see vacant spaces. There's supposed to be some 200 malls in the country. There's 6 malls that anyone remembers or of any repute. In our case, the retailer actually benefits, right? Because what we're trying to do is reduce the layers between the retailer and the manufacturer or the farmer. That's eventually what's going to happen. So in grocery, any grocery shop, you need at least, if you have 12,000 SKUs with you, you are able to fill like 95% of the demand that is in the market. But because it's a hyper-local business and you need one shop every 4 kilometers at least to fulfill that demand, you can't do away with retailers. You know, everyone thinks that marketplace is something that has been thrust upon us by the government. In our business, it's actually a need of the business, right? User interface. Now, this is pretty interesting. We are a mobile-only company, right? We don't have a website. You go to my website, it will say, please put in your mobile number, and we'll send you a link to download the app. What happened in case of e-commerce, they are geared more towards the desktop. It's not only that, right? So they have the desktop, and then they have to maintain the app as well, and they need to ensure both are talking to each other. So in a way, we have sort of benefited by coming after e-commerce, where we could go mobile only, and it won't work on desktop, right? No, as I told you, it's no fun to go and look at vegetables and photos of packets of chips on a desktop. No one would open the desktop for that. But yes, if you're stuck in traffic, you're going back home and you're wishing someone would just deliver your groceries at home, you might open the app on the way. The major players, as I said, e-commerce, 5-6 players in the horizontal space. A couple of them in the vertical space is what I think the market is stabilizing to almost. In our case, it's us and a couple of other players, which I don't count as purely hyperlocal, because their model is have a large warehouse outside the city, deliver the stuff in slots next day, which for us is not really the on-demand business. So here's the growth. On the horizontal, I have months, so these are not years, right? So we started our B2C app in Jan this year. It's just grown exponentially, right? So any given month, our volumes either triple or at least grow 2 times. And it's true even in terms of number of transactions. So here's the interesting thing. So we have data for July. Now, in 3 days of July, so on the 3rd day, we crossed the volumes that we did in April, right? In 6 days, we crossed the volumes we did 2 months back in May, and by the 18th day of the month, we had crossed the previous month's volume. So that's the kind of demand which is coming in, and this is only 10 cities right now. Don't hold that 10 city number to me, because very soon that's going to go up to at least 25, 30. So that's our business in a nutshell. We've got amazing ratings on the app. That's because we maintain our logistics in-house, our CRM in-house. What it ensures is the quality of service that you get from Grofers is very, very different from any other on-demand company that you have. We've got a rating of 15, and this is across categories. So when I say a rating of 15, this is counting the Paytms, MobiQuicks, Snapdeal, Flipkart, everything. And we just started 6 months back. On iOS, we've got a app ranking of 12. And in terms of the score, we've got a score of 4.1 on the Google Play Store, which is quite high given the number of orders that we do and the fact that even if a guy can't find a packet of chips, he's more likely to put a 1 star and close the app, right? So that's it. Happy to have any questions. Yeah.
So since your promise is that you deliver in 90 minutes, how do you ensure that the grocer keeps it ready? Because if he delays, then your whole plan comes apart. Because you have no control over the grocer's, preparedness or readiness.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So the way it works is how relevant are you for the business. So if it's a I would say medium-sized grocer in the country, and when I say medium-sized, I mean a guy who holds anywhere between 6 to 10,000 SKUs. It's not a mom and pop shop, but some slightly, and he's not a full-blown chain. He does 3 to 4 lakhs of sale in a day, right? Now, the question is how much of that sale is being driven by you? So initially when we started, we had this challenge, right? You would tell the guy, our guy is going to come and pick up the other stuff. He won't do anything. He won't budge, right? So when the guy lands and is there to pick up the stuff, that's when he starts packing. Now we've reached a stage where most of the retailers, the bigger retailers that we are working with or medium-sized retailers we are working with, they have a separate queue for Grofers guys, right? So, one day a guy was sort of complaining that I've got more Grofers guys in my store than genuine customers. So and we told him, that's fine, create a separate queue for me. How does it matter to you? So it's all about how much relevance you drive to the merchant. These people are hesitant initially, but when they see the numbers coming through, they play ball.
I just wanted to understand how is the distribution of the orders which you receive? Are they bulky in terms of timing or particularly on the weekends, etc.? And so how you plan your capacity, whether there is some capacity constraint during some time and there is a overcapacity during most of the time? Thanks.
So that's a pretty good question. So given that we're a logistics business, it's important to sort of plan for the spatial distribution of demand, right? Now, grocery demand actually peaks on weekends. Everyone likes to do groceries mostly on Sundays, right? So the way you go about it is that if you're running any offers or discounts, we run them during the weekday, so that whatever demand that we can pull back from the weekend to a weekday, that happens. And this we do through notifications which a mobile allows you to push through, right? The other thing is, in terms of capacity, we have enough capacity for now. So just to give you a sense of numbers, we have close to 3,500 delivery boys who are working with us, right? So we have enough capacity for the weekend. We have enough capacity for the weekdays. And since the demand is growing like 2x, 3x every month, you have to plan for the future. But yes, that distribution would always be towards the weekend. The other thing which also mitigates for us is we are a horizontal play, right? So we are not only selling groceries and fruits and vegetables. We've got electronics on us. We've got baby products on us. We've got cosmetics on us. Now those things which are slightly more discretionary don't necessarily get clubbed for the weekend. So in a way, as the proportion of these discretionary item also picks up, this demand will even out. But having said that, a weekend would be 1.5 to 2 times of a weekday. You can't change that customer behavior. That's true for all businesses, right? a big bazaar has more footfalls on the weekend than on a weekday, but his rental remains the same. I, I, I think it varies anywhere between, so first 5 days would be close to 60%, and the weekend would be anywhere between 35 to 40%.
Two questions.
Yeah.
First, how does the revenue model work? And second, do you plan to offer your storage as well as delivery facilities to the existing e-commerce as well as offline players like Big Bazaar or Reliance, etc.?
So the revenue model is pretty simple. It's commission based. So depending on which category of product it is, we have a take rate from the merchant. Now that take rate could vary anywhere from, let's say, 6% starting for standardized categories like, normal grocery. For a gourmet grocery, it goes up to 12 to 15%. For fresh produce and bakery, it's even higher, right? Because these are things otherwise the retailer ends up throwing away at the end of the day. So broadly, 8 to 10% on grocery. On fruits and vegetables, it can be as high as 20 to 25%. Flours, similar number. Bakery, around 15%. So those are our take rates, and that's our source. Right now, that's our sole source of revenue, the commission that we charge the merchant. In terms of, do we want to get into the B2B? No. That's where we started from. That is our core. That is our differentiator, right? Please understand this, and that's why I spent a lot of time on differentiating ourselves from e-commerce. The opportunity is much bigger right here. It's 2 times the market in India than what the e-commerce companies are doing. Now, if this business was that easy to get into, with their millions of dollars, they would have already got into this business. I think it is a non-sexy business. It is a daily operations business. It requires a very different DNA than a normal e-commerce business. Having gotten our hands dirty and mastered that piece, we definitely don't want to do it for anyone else. We've got a good brand going. We'll build our brand. We'll build our B2C business. B2B, we have done it, and we did it for a reason. We shut it back in March this year. So we are not providing the service to any other, but if there are any other delivery companies who want to do what we are doing erstwhile, we're happy to work with them. So, again, it's a function of the category of product. For example, fruits and vegetables, a typical family cannot eat fruits and vegetables above $400, right? So, I mean, I can give a 1,000 rupees discount. It's not going to lead to anything because, a guy is going to eat 250 grams in a meal or in a day. That's what it ends up to be. Grocery is, so fruits and vegetables would be on the lower side. I would say $6, $7. Grocery tends to be higher. For us, it's right now trending between $12 to $15. And then the categories like cosmetics and mobiles and baby product, which go much higher. So close to, let's say, $20, $25.
Is the cost of delivery covered in the margins which you make? Or as of
Yes.
now, it's
Yes.
negative?
Yes. No, so if you are saying, so effectively, what will happen, so in a normative scenario, right, every delivery boy should be able to do what we think close to 25 deliveries in a day. And it's not a number we are throwing up, it's not a reverse number. When we are doing B2B deliveries, we were pushing our delivery boys to do 30 to 40 deliveries per delivery boy a day. Now, if you work out the maths and the cost of having a delivery boy, it works out to anywhere between 20 to 25 rupees per delivery. Now, depending on your ticket size and your take rate, your take rate, commission take rate has to be higher than that. But understand from a merchant's perspective, he's not going to give you a delivery cost separately because he was happy giving that to us when we were doing a B2B because he took a call on which order he wanted to fulfill. Maybe for a 50 rupees order, he would still give us 50 rupees as the delivery thing, right? because it was a customer who he wanted to maintain. When the customer is owned by me, he would say, give me a simple commission, right? You are taking a call on whether you want to pick the stuff or not, and you're delivering to the customer. So the customer is yours. You are deciding on the ticket size of the item you want to deliver. So it's a simple model where we're just charging the commission, right? There's no separate delivery cost. Delivery cost is effectively our cost of doing business. Sorry? So, vegetables is a very tricky thing, right? So when we started, we were working with multiple vendors. So we said some Lucky Fruit Wala, some Lakshmi's Fruit Walas, and everyone we would used to work with. Then what we realized is that in that trade, there's always a tendency to pass off bad quality to the customer, especially when you know the customer is not yours, right? They know a Grofers guy is going to come. If the customer is going to complain, he'll tell the Grofers ne galat sabzi bhej diya, right? Because the customer doesn't understand it's a marketplace, who's the seller. For him, you are the brand, you're giving him the service, you better deliver on it. So initially we struggled with it. Our rating actually went down on the app because of fruits and vegetables. Then what we did was we said, let's consolidate this. So we will work with a few sort of fruits and vegetable guys, give them all the business, ensure that our guy is sitting at their shop and ensuring quality of every product that's going out. Now, we've gone to the extent that we ensure these guys are procuring good stuff from the mandi, getting it at their shop or processing center, cleaning it, sorting it, pre-packing it into SKUs, right? And those SKUs is what we quality control. So we don't care what you got from the mandi. Show me the final SKU that's going to go to the customer. And that's the SKU on which we have a quality control, because we have our guy, not a single guy. We've got like 3 people sitting at the shop ensuring A, the order gets packed before the delivery boy comes to pick it up, and B, the quality is not compromised on. So fruits and vegetables, and you can order online from us and give us a feedback. I believe personally, and we've gone through that pain, you can't get better fruits and vegetables on any other app better than us. So not right now. So whether do we have the ability to show him? Yes, we have the ability. The thing is, since we are doing the delivery ourselves, right? We don't see there are two things to it. If you want the merchant to deliver, right, which could be sometime in the future when this whole delivery thing becomes sort of commoditized, there are enough people to do it, and then we say, why do I pick this cost up? I'll take a lower take rate, you deliver, and when I know that guy is going to deliver. That's not the case in India, not going to be the case for a long time. So why do I need to tell him who the customer is, right? So we don't. Even to our delivery boy, interestingly, we don't give the customer's phone number, right? We have all, fortunately for us, we have all gone through this whole thing of Uber and understand that this is a guy who's come from a village, only has a driving license, earns 15,000 bucks, right? I don't know where he lives. I don't know what's going through his mind. I need to ensure that my customer at the other end is not uneasy dealing with this guy. So we ensure that all correspondence which happens between the customer and the delivery boy happens through our CRM system. So our call center, so let's say you ordered something. You ordered for 10 things, I got 9 things, I'm not getting a Diet Coke. I want to ask you, should I get you a normal Coke instead? My delivery guy calls the call center, tells them this order number, I'm not getting this product. He doesn't have your number, he's not going to even speak to you. Our call center calls the customer, says that is this something which I can replace? You said yes, we're okay with it. You say no, I just want this. We'll tell our delivery boy to go to some other shop and make sure he gets it. So that's the sort of quality that we are maintaining on that side.
And in case of, hi.
Sorry, I think it's
So how does he pay to the new shop? Because let's say the Diet Coke is not available. So he just buys it off cash at the next shop?
Yes. So it's it's not, interestingly, it's as I told you, it's an ops business, right? You have to manage cash, you have to manage logistics. It's not that you'll have a nodal account, and the guy will get the payment in after, let's say, of course, understand from your perspective. Forget what I'm telling you on how good the business is. You're a customer. You'll tell me, यार मेरे नीचे वाले दुकान पे ना कोक मिलता है. तुम इतनी बड़ी कंपनी चला रहे हो, तुमसे कोक की बॉटल नहीं डिलीवर होती है. Fact है, मतलब that's the customer psyche, right? So we said, fine, if it requires us to procure certain tail products from merchants who are not listed on us, and we're not going to get commission on it, that's a call. That's fine. But I'm not going to make my customers suffer, because it is a business which is relentless. You will tell me, मेरे को मिलता है नीचे मिलता है, मैं लड़का भेजूंगा नीचे लेके आ जाएगा वो.
Your merchants are really attached to somebody else cannot take them if they want to?
No, so the fruits and vegetable guys, as I told you, because we are putting some effort there, they are exclusively for us. The grocery guys are happy. We are happy if they work with other guys as well. I mean, we can't stop them, right? I can't stop.
Build a distribution. Somebody can just hook on to distribution.
Yeah, but as I again said, grocery, there's what's the distribution, right? Tomorrow, if I do a white label product, which eventually we'll get into doing, then I would get into this exclusivity. That if you're my merchant, you're selling my white label product, you're not going to get it on any other ordering app. But if it's not a white label product, it's something which he sells in his shop in any case, there's no way you can control it.
What happens if there's a no-show at the customer place, or the customer is unhappy with some of the products?
Sure. So right now we have sort of a zero dispute policy, right? We don't dispute with the customer. So interestingly, what I didn't cover is 50 to 65% of our orders are prepaid orders. Okay, because these are people who used to on demand. They're used to using an Uber where you open the door, shut the door, transaction closed, right? So the first time a guy orders, he mostly does a COD because he doesn't know us, doesn't know what the quality he's going to get, so he wants to test it out. But the second time onwards, we have seen people go to prepaid orders. So in a typical e-commerce, you'll have anywhere between 12 to 15% as prepaid. In our case, it's 50 to 65%. Having said that, some of the other companies have taken the pain for us, right? So that whole COD thing and everything has evolved. As I told you, it's not a sexy thing to order sabzi and then say ki mere ko nahi chahiye. Like, what's the fun in it? I would rather order Vero Moda jeans and try it on and say ki this is bullshit, I don't want it, right? Sabzi mein kya karega yaar?